What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. Hey, thank you for joining me for this Midday Monologue Monday here in October. Halloween month is upon us, and I often go over some of my favorite horror and Halloween-themed games. And now I want to talk about some of the games that will be fitting for the younger members of your family and your group, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, games that are more fitting for them than some of the more adult games like Home Award that you want to keep away from them. So if you want to take things up a notch, you know, from Pin the Fang on the Vampire, and I don't know, what else do they do? Bobbing for eyeballs or something at a Halloween party? There are some interesting board games that you can play, and I just want to quickly tell you about a few of them. Maybe you can break them out for a Halloween party. There are a couple of games from Steve Jackson Games that I think definitely stand out. I mean, there's probably a lot more from that company I could mention, but the two that really stick out the most to me are Survive the Night Chupacabra and Zombie Dice. Now, both of these are dice games. There's multiple ways that they sell them. I have them in the cup version. Sometimes some of the versions that they sell come in cups to help you with the rolling of the dice. And they're very good, quick little games. Both games are good for kids 8, 10 years old. These games are quick. They'll run you 10 to 20, 30 minutes, maybe at most, maxed out. And they're lighthearted. And you get to chuck some dice. And I guess you don't want kids much younger than 8, because then they're just going to be throwing them against the walls and under the couch, and places hard to get to. But yeah, I guess maybe around 8 would be a good age to start introducing some dice chucking games like this to the little ones, especially this time of year. Looney Labs. Looney Labs has some very fun, interesting games, and the two of them, part of the Flux series, I think really stand out right now for Halloween time. The Flux games are funny little games that are, well, always in a state of flux. The win condition changes on a whim from player turn to player turn, depending on the cards each player has to play. And it really keeps the game going. You can think that you have all the cards to win at the end of your turn, going into your next turn, you think you're going to win, and by the time those 2-3 players go around before it gets to you, everything has changed. And there's a couple that stand out this time of year. The Monster Flux, which incorporates a lot of classic style of monsters, vampires, werewolves, skeletons, things like that. And then Looney Labs also came out with Zombie Flux, specifically. There's also a Cthulhu Flux, but I'm not sure if your kids know anything about Cthulhu or you want to bother introducing them. But like the rest of them, it's all fun and lighthearted, including the artwork and the style. Trying to take turns to change the rules and change the winning conditions and finally, get all the cards you need. And those games are good for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and usually don't take more than 15 to 30 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes. Yeah, give them a shot. Look at them. Avalon Hill and Hasbro have a series of games called Betrayal. Started with Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is your basic trope of everything that could possibly happen in a horror movie has a possibility of happening in this game and being played out. And one of you, halfway through the adventure, something's going to happen, and it's going to turn out, hey, you've been a betrayer the entire time. The player doesn't even know it until it happens. Now, you could go for the classic Betrayal, but if we're talking about kids here, they did make a specific Scooby-Doo and Betrayal at Mystery Mansion. And it uses the same rules and mechanics to a great degree. And it comes off with a very fun product that keeps its lighthearted nature. During the course of the game, you got to go through the mansion that you're building with tiles as you're going along and find clues. And eventually something's going to happen that's going to trigger an event. And upon triggering the event, someone will be revealed to be a traitor, a betrayer. But they take it lighthearted. I like this approach with Scooby-Doo. So let's say you're playing Fred or Daphne, and they turn out to be the betrayer. It's not like Fred or Daphne has actually been screwing you over this whole time. It's one of those, ha-ha, you thought I was Fred moments. So that keeps all the characters, I think, in the good. It does. I like that. So even when they're the bad guy, they're not really the bad guy. So you might want to check out the original or the Scooby-Doo Betrayal, depending on the age of your kids. Ghostbusters! Ghostbusters! Come on, that's fun and Halloween-y style with ghosts in it, right? That's good for kids. And there's a couple of Ghostbuster board games. Ghostbusters the board game, Ghostbusters the board game 2. And they pull heavily on the comic book, some on the cartoon series as well, which in turn themselves pulled from the movie. And in this, you get to play one of the iconic Ghostbusters, and you're driving around town, and it's all set up in tiles, and there's a lot of great miniatures, from the Ghostbusters to the different style of ghosts, even down to the Ectomobile. And yeah, you gotta bust ghosts. You gotta capture them with the proton packs, right? You gotta get them caught in the streams, and then you gotta trap them. And you got to do this. It has a little bit of kind of an Eldritch horror Fantasy Flight game to it, because they're all coming out of these portals from the ghost dimension. So you got to close down the portals. But yeah, it's a lighthearted, based on the comic book and cartoon series, look at Ghostbusters, where you get to play them in a miniature combat style strategy game. And that's good for kids 10 and up. And it should run you anywhere from 30 minutes to, depending on the campaign that you're running for it, it might go as much as 2 hours. A lot of the different campaigns are different lengths, so check them out individually. Now, I want to mention 2 games by 2 different companies that are similar enough, but they're not. They're kind of like the flip coin of each other. So, first of all, from Ravensburger, I couldn't do this list without pointing out Horrified. Specifically because it's Halloween. Come on. Horrified Universal Monsters. The original. You could go American Monsters if you want to throw in Bigfoot and Mothman and things like that. Or maybe the Greek monsters. But this is Halloween time, which is why I'm voting, so to speak, for the original Horrified of Universal Monsters, where you're fighting these guys. Right here. Trying to save a town that's being overrun by 2, 3, or 4 of them. Whoa. It's a really good cooperative game. It has simple enough mechanics of just picking up clues and using clues in order to defeat the monsters. And they each need 2 different things to happen in order to defeat them. So like you gotta set them up to be defeated, and then you do the defeating part of it. And it's really fun, lighthearted. If you know the old Universal movies, you'll recognize all of the townsfolk, cards and standees that'll come out during the game, including Abbott and Costello, because they did meet Frankenstein. Now, also thinking of the Universal Monsters, but from the flip side of things, Funko Games, from Funko Pop. Funko Games, and these are mini pops, has Universal Monsters themselves. But in this, you're playing one of the 4, at least currently, I hope they make some more, one of the 4 Universal Monsters in this kind of just like fight situation, where they're battling each other. And the double-sided boards make things really interesting, changes things up a little bit. And the Funko Pops look amazing. The mini pops, they look so cool, so cool. So there, I mean, you're looking for some games for kids for Halloween? I think those are some pretty good choices that you have right there. Go take a look at some of them. Don't just rush out and buy them because I'm saying so. I'm not spending your money. What I am saying is those are some good suggestions that you should look into. See if you can find some playthroughs of these titles. That'll give you a really good idea if you think it's something that you, your friends, the kids will have fun with. And yeah, that's it. Just have some fun on Halloween and be safe. Thanks for watching this video. Go check these games out. I think you're going to like them.